And welcome to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I am your host, Noah Love, and today, we are going to be talking about Thunder Spurs. We're going to preview Game 6. The Thunder won Game 5 and took a 3-2 series lead. We're going to be previewing Game 6, and we are also going to be talking about the draft lottery. I'm going to talk about the draft lottery first because I have some things to get off my chest when it comes to this. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let's get into it. Okay. Tweet by Shams Charania. Breaking. The NBA's Board of Governors has passed new anti-tanking rules that include expanding the draft lottery from 14 to 16 teams, a relegation zone where the bottom 3 teams get penalized with lessened chances for the number 1 picks and flattened odds. So now I believe if you are in the bottom 3, the chance of you getting the number 1 pick goes from I think the chance of you getting the number 1 pick goes to 28-29%. Stupid. The NBA Board of Governors vote passed 29-1 with the Memphis Grizzlies as the lone vote against the new anti-tanking lottery system. You're trying to fix tanking but not fix flopping. Okay. They said this new lottery system is the 3-2-1 lottery. It's named to represent the number of lottery balls per team. Teams with a bottom 3 record, the relegation area, have only 2 lottery balls. Teams that do not qualify for the playoffs or play-in tournament in spots 4 through 10 receive 3 lottery balls each. The numbers 9 and 10 playing seeds in each conference receive 2 lottery balls each, and the losers of the 7-8 playing games receive 1 lottery ball each. All 16 teams will be in the drawing. No one will be able to win the number 1 will be able to win the number 1 pick in consecutive years or be able to win 3 consecutive top 5 picks. Okay. This is so dumb. Number 1, I want to get this out the way. This outrage about tanking is purely performative for most of the national media, ESPN, if you're a part of national media, it's purely performative. You have not cared. These people do not care. The Sacramento Kings have sucked for years. They did not care. They did not talk about, we need to help the Sacramento Kings get better or their organization, or we need to figure out what the problem is. They did not care. They do not care that outside of KD, Harden, and Irving, that whole era, the Brooklyn Nets have sucked. And the Brooklyn Nets sucked because Billy King gave away all their picks to the Boston Celtics, which they are still ruining to this day. Nobody cared when the Washington Wizards have sucked for almost a decade now. Now they're going to get better because yes, they've got some young pieces and the best. Nobody was crying for the Utah Jazz when they had top 3 lottery odds last year and fell to the 5th pick. You see what I'm saying? This is so stupid in so many ways. I do not understand what their obsession is. This is why people sometimes complain, well, why do the same teams keep winning in the NBA? Because the same people, why does the Western Conference keep winning? Because the same teams are getting, or the same organizations are able, let's say, okay, Dallas, they had last year, 14th odds. They traded Luka Doncic, 14th odds, 14th odds. They went from that to the number 1 pick. Now, rigging, people are going to be like, the draft lottery is rigging. It's not a live event. So you could easily now in this upcoming year it will be a live event. Folk get out, but you this year, past years, you could easily rig it because it's not live. They can't prove it. Because you cannot convince me that the Mavericks all of a sudden just randomly decide to trade Luka Doncic on a random Saturday night. And on a random Saturday night, and then, a couple months later, the Mets just magically get the number one pick. It's Cooper Flack. You can't not convince me of that. You can't convince me that's just all a coincidence. Something was done behind closed doors. This is what it says. There's now a 71% chance the NBA's number one pick falls to a 6th through 12th place team. Only a 29% chance it falls to a bottom 5 team. So if you're in 6 through 12, so let's say you are bad, but you're still bad, but you're not like horrendous, like one of the worst in the league. There's a better chance now you get the number one pick. And I just don't understand it. There are teams that are just genuinely bad basketball teams. The Chicago Bulls were not tanking. The Bulls were just a bad basketball team. They were just bad. Even the Kings this year, I don't think they were really tanking. I just think they were bad. And you talk about we don't want to reward tanking. Well, the teams that really weren't tanking got screwed this year in this year's draft lottery. Guess who got the second pick? Well, it's the Utah Jazz. They were outwardly in your face, blatantly tanking. This is dumb. The Kings are still going to be bad. The Nets are still going to be bad. The Bulls, more than likely, are still going to be bad. I mean, the Clippers, they may be so. But for the most part, like the teams I mentioned are still going to be bad. Utah may still, if they botch the pick, may still end up being bad. So I don't understand. There's tanking, and then there's genuinely just bad basketball teams that don't have a lot of talent. And so you're going to punish the genuinely bad basketball teams? Look, if you're in the 29% and you somehow get the number one pick, I salute you. Because I don't know how you did that. I don't know how the luck fell. Or maybe they rigged it for you. I don't know. But the point is, it's so dumb. And there are so much bigger problems than tanking. Sam Hinkie said, trust the process. He blew up the entire Sixers team, and they said, this is what we're going for. They finished 10-72. I think there may have been like 3 or 4 straight years they were in the top 2. And they drafted like Okafor, Nerlens Noel. I think they had drafted Embiid one year, and they ended up getting Ben Simmons. And then another year, they got Markelle Fultz. So that's 5 basically straight years they were in that top 3 range. That cannot happen anymore. And teams can't get, I guess, consecutive years with top 5 picks. Now you want to put that in when the San Antonio Spurs just so happen to have gotten top 5 picks in multiple years. You're telling me nobody thought of this before? Come on. Let's be serious here. So, I'm not buying what Silver's trying to sell. This is going to have bad ramifications. Because when one of those teams, let's say a team has a massive injury, right? let's see the Lakers. Let's pull that. Let's say the Lakers at midseason are in fourth place, and there's a generational talent coming out, and Luka gets injured, and they end up falling into that 6 to 12 range, and because of that, they end up getting the number one pick. They pick that they they pick that player. Now you're adding a generational talent to a playoff team with Luka and Reeves and all that. Let's just say that happens next year. Now you're adding a generational talent to a playoff team. And in one of the bad teams, there is a reason why some of these bad teams stay bad. Some of these teams, it's organizations. Like the Kings, that's an organization issue. But some teams have bad luck. If I am a GM or an owner, I'm not relying on the draft to get. I'm not relying on the draft. Like trades, maybe make some small free agent signings. I'm not relying on the draft because you can't. Because you can't now. So unless you're just Sam Presti and have abundance of picks for days. But I'm just saying I'm not relying on the draft. But some teams have to because they can't get. Some teams have to because they can't not get other free big free agents to come to their cities. Sometimes that's the way it goes. This whole thing is stupid. It's dumb. Whatever word you can use. Meanwhile, we have a Western Conference Finals work going on where I'm trying to watch two great teams play, but I can't because all of them are just going. Wimby's shooting like 12 free throws. Shea's shooting 19 free throws. Castle shooting double-digit free throws. They're allowing OKC to flop and get away with it. They're allowing OKC to pull, grab, and hold. But when San Antonio does the same thing, it's a foul. I'm watching a ball go off of Chet's foot and the coach not be able to challenge it. They just say, "Nah, you're not going to challenge that," and then give him a technical foul like he did something wrong. There are bigger issues like flopping and reffing. There are bigger issues in this league, but you want to stop the tank. But you want to stop tanking. Okay. Okay. Hey, Brooklyn Nets. Because I know that was y'all plan. It's I don't know. Just pray you have luck. I guess. I don't know, man. Pray you have luck, I guess. But yeah, this is just so bad and stupid, and I can't even tell you. I just it's so bad. The reason why the NFL is mainly king of sports is because, and also the reason why most of the time, like the talent's spread out. Obviously, you've got a lot of teams in 53-man rosters, but the the best players or the generational talents don't always end up in these big markets. When was the last time the Dallas Cowboys had a truly great, like, generational quarterback? Like, okay, but like even like physical, like let's look at this. Kansas City is a small market. They've got Patrick Mahomes. I think Baltimore, even though they're a historic franchise, they are kind of a smaller market. They have Lamar Jackson. Buffalo, now they're in Buffalo, New York, so they're kind of, but they have Josh Allen, like, okay. The Jordan Love, great, very good quarterback during Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers one of the best players or one of the best quarterbacks ever was in Green Bay. The NFL does not care which team gets him. My Colts, Peyton Manning played here for who knows how long, and then he went to Denver. And then Denver had him for 4 years. So I think the reason the NFL is better, in my opinion, is because these best players don't play in the big markets. And I know that was just quarterbacks, but those are kind of the faces of the league. I mean, Myles Garrett plays in Cleveland. Like, what one of your best edge rushers, he plays in Cleveland. So the point I'm trying to make is not all of the best players just play in these big markets. They play in small markets. Now the NBA is getting better in terms of the best players in small markets, but that has to be like homegrown, like and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's my take on it. I just really feel like this whole thing's stupid. And it helps nobody, and it's going to have bad ramifications, and there are bigger issues at play. And I really think it's going to do a lot of damage when those same teams are in the bottom four each and every year. You're gonna be like, oh, why have the Kings or the Nets not gotten any better? Because they haven't had a top pick. The organizations and teams suck. Like, okay, and this is the last thing, and then we're going to Thunder-Spurs. When the NFL does this, okay, Raiders, you sucked. 3-14. Cool. We're not going to punish you. You sucked, but here's the thing: we got a crop of new talent coming in. You're gonna get better, and you're gonna have the first pick. Fernando Mendoza. Or last year, the Titans. You sucked. That's okay. Cam Ward. Colts in 2012. You sucked. Your franchise quarterback got hurt. Your franchise superstar. We're not going. You think you're gonna trade him away because you think he's not as good anymore and doesn't have a lot left in the tank? Okay, fine. But you know what? You're gonna be rewarded with this generational quarterback in Andrew Luck. That's if you take him. Obviously, these organizations have to make the right picks. That's what happens, and that's why the talent is always spread out. Carolina, the Panthers have been bad for after Cam, after that Super Bowl, bad for a really long time. You know what? They get Bryce Young, and obviously they have to build around him. Like, that's what it is. Meanwhile, it feels like, honestly, the league, if you're not the Lakers, if you're not maybe the Lake, if you're not in a big market, it feels like they it feels like if you're not in a big market, they're trying to go against you. Sometimes. That's what it feels like. Sometimes. Obviously depends on the team, but sometimes it's just what it feels like as a guy who's a fan of a small market team. And obviously the national media is going to favor the big markets because they don't know, or they know, but that's just what they do. But I don't know, man. I just did this whole draft lottery thing. Think I told you, tanking, the whole outrage, air quotes, about tanking performative. This stupid. It's stupid. Now let's get to Thunder and Spurs. I kind of went on a little mini rant about the Thunder Spurs officiating last game, because this is just getting ridiculous, man. This is just getting ridiculous. I think we're going to a game 7. The Spurs have pushed the Thunder to really probably their second. at the moment their second toughest series of this 2 year run. The first being the Pacers in probably, or maybe the third toughest series because I forgot about the Denver series. But obviously, this first time OKC's kind of been tested all playoffs. I think we go the distance. I just think this series has been, we've been alternating wins, obviously. I just think it's too much. I just think this is going to game seven. I think at home, Spurs know the moment. We can't let them get to the West. We can't let the Thunder get to the NBA Finals on our floor. I think we're going back for game seven. I think I told you Spurs in seven. I think we're going to I think this series is going the distance. What's going to be the key? Can't turn the ball over as much. A great start is a key. The issue for the Spurs last game is they got down by 20. And against OKC, you cannot get down by that much and think they're just going to blow that at home. That just doesn't happen to them, or period. So they're a heck of a team. I think Wembenyama has another big time. I think he has a bounce back big time performance. And I think they win. And I think we do go to a game seven. I think for OKC to win this game, look, role players are still going to have to step up. I'm anticipating no Mitchell, no J Dub again. And so McCain, Dort, Wallace, Chet, Harden, like those guys around Shea, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, they're going to have to step it up. But the Spurs, they're going to have to play with the desperation they play with in game four, they are going to have to play with in game six. From a defensive physicality standpoint, they're going to have to, well, if they can, they're going to have to bring it. Like, the ref discourse, I usually don't really like getting into the ref discourse because I do think it takes away from the actual basketball being played on the floor. But we are at a point with this where I'm watching the game and it's not fun because everybody's just we're just shooting a bunch of free throws. A series, and I'm 19 years old. I grew up, or I'm still growing up, but I'm watching an era. I was in like the 2010s era. So that was LeBron, Harden, Curry, Paul, Durant. Like, you know the faces, right? At the end of Kobe, there used to be physical playoff basketball, very physical playoff basketball that weren't ref shows. I look back at some of those series and I go, man, we took those for granted because the I mean, just the ability to be allowed to have a certain level of physicality, I really do think has been lost. I truly do believe that has been lost. Because if you watch these series today, this is one of the physical series I've seen, but every time someone's being physical, it's a foul call. And look, I'm not saying Stefan Castle has been an angel in terms of guarding Shea Gilgis, but you cannot tell me some of he's getting the fouls they're calling him for are either Shea flopping or touch fouls. And the fouls he's getting away with, I go, that should have been a foul. It's like, first of all, giving Tony Brothers this series is absolutely horrendous on the NBA. Tony Brothers, I think, is just genuinely bad at his job. Like, when the story of a series becomes more about the refs than the actual game being played, I just, that's not good for the game. It's not good for the league, and it shouldn't happen. That's plain and simple. And I think we need to do a better job I think the NBA needs to do a better job in terms of officiating in the rules. Let both teams play with the same amount of physicality. I feel like I've been on repeat about this for months. I said, look, if you're gonna let the Thunder play with a certain level of physicality, fine. Let the other team do it. Stefan Castle literally said the quiet part out loud, and you can get mad at him, but it's the truth. Knicks fans, you're gonna get frustrated as well. Because if this type of reffing continues and the Thunder make the NBA Finals, you're gonna be upset that you can't play with the same level of physicality because that freedom of movement stuff you're not getting against OKC because they're gonna be grabbing and holding. And look, if they want to play like that, that is fine. Let them play like that. But you should let the other team be able to do that too. That's all I'm saying. Just let the physical. Don't let Wimby get continue to get grabbed on an offensive rebound, but then on the other end, when Wimby grabs Jalen Williams' hand just a little bit, it's a foul. Like, come on. Like, that's ridiculous. Anyways, I do think the Spurs win tonight. I think this series was, since game one, was always destined to go 7 games. I think this is going 7. And I think we're going to have a game 7 on Saturday night for a chance to advance to the NBA Finals. All right, everybody. This has been an episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, see ya.